Alright, let's talk Wuthering Waves. If you've been wondering which characters are actually worth investing in right now, you're in the right place. In this version 3.1 tier list, updated for February 2026, we're breaking down the strongest 5-star and 4-star characters and ranking them by what they do best: main DPS, sub DPS, or support. Whether you're trying to clear endgame content faster or just want a smoother team setup, knowing who truly performs can make a huge difference. Think of this as your quick, no-nonsense guide to building stronger teams without wasting resources. We keep this ranking updated daily to reflect balance changes, new discoveries, and evolving team comps, so you're always looking at the latest meta. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and make smarter pulls and upgrades, stick around, because some rankings might surprise you. I'm quickly moving on to the video, and I'm ranking characters in Wuthering Waves. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right: Yang, Taoki, Yuhu, and Lumi. Alright, this is the part of the tier list where things get complicated. Not terrible, not amazing, just that awkward middle ground where a character works, but you keep thinking there has to be a better option. Welcome to the C tier, the land of usable but replaceable. First up is Yang, the very first free 4-star character everyone gets their hands on. She actually feels pretty good early on. Her arrow grouping utility helps gather enemies, and she provides respectable damage while you're still building your roster. The problem shows up the moment you unlock stronger sub damage dealers. Once characters that provide real damage amplification buffs enter your team, Yang's role shrinks fast. She's not bad, she's just quickly outclassed. Then we have Taoki, who quietly found a new purpose thanks to Jinxie. She can function as a sub-damage dealer by amplifying resonance skill damage while delivering quick switch bursts through her resonance liberation. Sounds great on paper, right? Unfortunately, her biggest issue never left: split scaling. Her forte circuit and shields scale differently, making her kit feel divided instead of cohesive. If her scaling were consistent across the entire kit, she could have been an incredible hybrid support and sub-damage dealer. Instead, she sits in this frustrating, almost great zone. Next is Yuhu, a healer support hybrid with one of the most interesting and chaotic kits in the game. She can heal, improve vibration strength, depletion efficiency, and provide multiple buffs during combat. The catch? Those buffs rely on a kit-based random system. While you can influence the outcome slightly, most of the time you're at the mercy of randomness, which can disrupt rotations at the worst possible moments. On top of that, her outro skill only buffs the incoming resonator's coordinated attacks, a mechanic only a small number of characters actually use. That niche limitation hurts her value even more. Finally, there's Lumi, a sub-damage dealer who boosts resonance skill damage through her outro skill. Her kit is straightforward, and her multipliers on both her forte circuit and resonance liberation are solid. When her fort circuit is full, she can deliver respectable burst damage. However, her damage drops noticeably when relying on basic attacks in her 2 light modes, which makes her performance feel inconsistent during longer field time. She's functional and easy to understand, but not quite impactful enough to rise above this tier. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right: Jiangxin, Lingyang, Rover Aero, Aalto, Yuanwu, Chixia, and Baiji. If C tier felt like the waiting room, B tier is where characters actually start making a case for themselves. These aren't weak picks by any means, they're solid, dependable, and sometimes surprisingly strong, but each of them carries a small limitation that keeps them from breaking into the upper ranks. Jiangxin sits comfortably in that middle ground between main damage dealer and sub-damage dealer. She can hold the field on her own, grouping enemies while delivering area damage, which makes mob fights feel much more controlled. Her outro skill also boosts resonance liberation damage, giving her real value when played as a sub-damage dealer. The downside is familiar. Being a jack of all trades often means mastering none. Much like Spectro Rover, she falls behind specialists who dominate a single role in the meta. Lingyang is not weak, he's just overshadowed. Compared to other standard 5-star damage dealers, especially those with strong area damage, his performance feels modest. He also lacks a dedicated Glacio support, which limits his overall team potential. As a result, his damage output struggles to keep up with top main damage dealers, leaving him in an awkward spot despite solid fundamentals. Aero Rover currently suffers from a problem that has nothing to do with their own strength. They excel at applying negative effects to enemies, but the roster lacks enough characters that truly capitalize on those effects. That said, they remain the best support option for the powerful Aero Erosion team composition. If future characters expand negative effect synergy, Aero Rover's value could rise dramatically. Alto works well as a sub-damage dealer who boosts aero damage while contributing respectable damage himself. He can hold his own on the field when needed, making him flexible in team rotations. However, he's often compared to Mortefi, who continues dealing damage even while off-field. That persistent pressure gives Mortefi an edge, pushing Alto slightly down the priority list. Yuanwu brings coordinated electro damage that continues even when he's off-field, making him feel somewhat similar to Mortefi in function. He also reduces enemy vibration strength, the toughness bar beneath certain enemies, helping teams trigger break states faster. The catch is positioning. Enemies must remain inside his field of effect. Mobile foes can easily escape the circle, which reduces his reliability in fast-paced encounters. Chixia shines when fighting groups of enemies thanks to her mobility and ease of use. She can reposition quickly, making her feel smooth and responsive in combat. Against single-target bosses, she performs well as long as you manage positioning and evasion properly. However, when surrounded by multiple enemies, that mobility advantage can disappear quickly if you lose control of spacing and get overwhelmed. Baiji is the healer you turn to when you do not have Shorekeeper or Verena. She can deliver burst healing through her resonant skill and liberation, while also providing continuous healing and buffs to the next character taking the field for 36 seconds. Unlocking her first inherent skill adds an attack boost for the next on-field damage dealer who collects the Euphonia generated by Yutan. Still, she falls behind Verena because her buffs apply only to the next swapped-in character rather than the entire team, which restricts rotation flow and overall team synergy. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right: Calcharo, Encore, Rover Spectro, Yinlin, Rover Havoc, Xiangli Yao, Balling, Mortifi, and Danjin. Now we're stepping into the tier where characters stop feeling replaceable and start feeling like real power picks. A tier is packed with units that can carry teams, enable strong strategies, or deliver serious damage, even if a few small flaws keep them from absolute dominance. Calcharo is an electro main damage dealer who excels at delivering sustained electro damage through both his resonance skill and resonance liberation. His playstyle feels aggressive and rewarding, especially when you maintain his momentum during combat. The arrival of Yinlin gave him the perfect sub-damage dealer partner, amplifying his output and pushing his ceiling much higher. With proper support, Calcharo transforms from strong to devastating. Encore is one of the most explosive fusion damage dealers in the game. She focuses entirely on raw damage, and when she enters her Cosmos Rave state, she unleashes an absurd amount of fusion damage in a short window. The trade-off is survivability. Unlike Jian, she gains no crowd control protection during Cosmos Rave, and the state lasts only 10 seconds. If you get interrupted or take heavy hits, that damage window can disappear quickly. Rover Spectro brings versatility to the battlefield. Their outro skill can stop time, enabling safe swaps and powerful setups, while their Resonance Liberation delivers impressive burst damage. They show flashes of main damage dealer potential while functioning as a sub-damage dealer. However, being a hybrid once again creates the classic problem. Specialists outperform them in both roles, causing Spectro Rover to lose ground in optimized team compositions. Yinlin stands out as a premium sub-damage dealer who boosts liberation damage and electro damage while triggering coordinated electro attacks for additional pressure. Because she continues dealing damage even off a field, her value in sustained fights is extremely high. However, the rise of multi-wave content has exposed inconsistencies in her mark application, which can reduce efficiency and slow overall clear times. Rover Havoc delivers impressive burst potential and one of the most satisfying offensive states in the game. Activating Dark Surge is straightforward, and during this state, their basic attacks become the primary source of devastating damage. Their Resonance Liberation adds powerful burst potential, and their interaction with Dreamless significantly increases damage output. Mastering dodges is crucial, since maximizing Dark Surge uptime determines their true effectiveness. Xiangli Yao is a powerful main damage dealer who slows enemies while dealing heavy damage when used correctly. He relies heavily on Resonance Liberation damage, making buffs from teammates, weapons, and echoes extremely valuable. While he remains strong, the arrival of newer Electro characters such as Augusta has pushed him out of the spotlight, and he may remain overshadowed for some time. Bueling is an excellent 4-star support healer who applies Electro Flare to enemies while keeping the team alive. Beyond healing, she offers resonance, skill damage amplification, and grouping utility, giving her surprising battlefield control. This combination makes her a practical and accessible alternative to premium support units. Mortefi brings consistent pressure through coordinated fusion attacks that trigger whenever the active character attacks. This allows him to continue dealing damage while off-field, dramatically increasing his total contribution during fights. His value rises even further when paired with damage dealers who rely on heavy attacks, which are extremely common in the current roster. Being a 4-star unit also makes him easy to obtain and upgrade. Danjin is a high-risk, high-reward damage dealer who can output enormous damage when her health drain mechanic is managed properly. Free-to-play players especially benefit from her potential, but she demands careful play. Against tougher enemies, managing her health while maintaining aggression requires strong mechanics and awareness. In skilled hands, however, she can rival far more premium damage dealers. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Verena, Jiyun, Jinxi, Changli, Jeji, Camellia, Carlotta, Rochia, Fufushi, Cantarella, Zani, Lupa, Chiza, and Sanhua. And now we've arrived at the tier where characters don't just perform well, they shape the way teams are built and how the game is played. S-tier units bring absurd efficiency, powerful buffs, or damage ceilings that can trivialize even the toughest encounters. Verena is the definition of value packed into one character. She heals, buffs the entire party, and periodically triggers coordinated spectro attacks that also heal the active character. While she does not provide critical rate or critical damage boosts like Shorekeeper, her real strength lies in how little field time she needs. That efficiency makes her invaluable for teams built around damage dealers who demand long on-field windows. Jiyan stands as one of the most complete damage dealers in the game. He delivers excellent single target and area damage, while his ultimate can group smaller enemies for crowd control. The introduction of Wuthering Waves gave him a niche where he excels even further, increasing his overall value and making him one of the safest and most versatile damage dealers to invest in. Jinxi is a Spectro main damage dealer capable of delivering massive burst damage through both her resonance skill and resonance liberation. Her multipliers are incredibly high, allowing her to erase enemies before they can even react. While newer units have begun to catch up in power and mechanics, she remains a devastating pick in nearly any combat scenario. Changli unleashes enormous fusion damage when her Forte circuit is fully stacked, and she can further increase her attack power after using her ultimate to push her damage even higher. She technically has sub-damage dealer utility through her outro skill, but using her off-field feels wasteful considering how much damage she produces while active. She thrives when given the field and the time to burn everything down. Jeji is a sub-damage dealer who enhances characters that scale with resonance skill, while also amplifying Glacio damage. She is the best partner for top damage dealers like Jinxi and Carlotta, making her one of the most versatile support picks available. If your team relies on resonance skill damage, Jeji elevates it to another level. Camellia is a havoc damage dealer built around sweeping, far-reaching combos that excel in area damage situations. She even has access to a free sub-damage dealer option, making her team compositions extremely easy to assemble. Although newer havoc units like Frolova have begun to surpass her in raw power, she remains a strong and accessible option. Carlotta is the premier Glacio damage dealer, delivering consistent burst damage that scales with her resonance skill. This synergy makes her a perfect partner for Jeji, who amplifies both Glacio damage and resonance skill output. However, with the meta shifting away from standard damage dealer archetypes and fewer new Glacio units arriving, her prominence has dipped slightly in recent patches. Rochia functions as a Havoc sub-damage dealer who boosts both basic attack damage and Havoc damage. She also provides grouping utility, allowing your main damage dealer to wipe out clustered enemies efficiently. Her own damage contribution is significant, which helps teams meet strict time requirements in endgame modes like Tower of Adversity. That said, she thrives primarily in Havoc teams, limiting composition flexibility. Phoebe is a hybrid Spectro damage dealer capable of strong Spectro output when enemies are affected by Spectro Frazzle. While she does not reach the same heights as Zani, she offers flexibility by acting as a Spectro Frazzle applicator when needed. Her ability to amplify ally damage and reduce enemy Spectro resistance makes her an excellent supportive damage option. Cantarella is a Havoc unit who brings sustain, damage amplification, and coordinated off-field attacks into team compositions. She enables mono Havoc teams and can even allow players to run a second sub-damage dealer instead of a dedicated support thanks to her healing and sustain tools. She is essential in Frolova teams where she enables echo skill damage strategies. Though outside that niche, she often serves as a secondary option. Zani remains one of the strongest Spectro damage dealers available, built around Spectro-Frazzle compositions to maximize output. She dominated multiple patches after release, but recent updates have shifted focus toward tune break mechanics. Even so, she remains an elite unit capable of top-tier performance. Lupa acts as the premier fusion damage enabler, pushing fusion teams to their absolute ceiling. In mono-fusion compositions, her impact is enormous and often feels like the final piece that completes the team. The downside is obvious: she requires a full fusion lineup, which severely restricts team building flexibility. Chissa functions as a universal negative status support, increasing maximum stack counts for status effects while applying defense reduction through Havoc Bane and Thread of Bane. Her value comes from maximizing negative status mechanics, but current team compositions rarely exploit these systems fully. For now, she acts as a luxury addition to Aero Erosion and Spectro Frazzle teams, with potential to grow if future updates expand these mechanics. Sanhua is one of the strongest sub-damage dealers thanks to her ability to provide basic attack damage amplification for 14 seconds to the next active character. She also contributes respectable personal damage, though her effectiveness depends on consistently detonating her ice structures with heavy attacks. When played correctly, she enables some of the highest sustained damage windows in the game. The characters in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right: Shorekeeper, Brant, Chiacona, Cartafia, Frolova, Augusta, Yuno, Galbrenna, Kyuyuan, Line, Morny, and Almiaf. If S tier characters define the meta, S plus tier characters bend it to their will. These are the units that feel unfair in the best way possible. The ones that make teams smoother, damage numbers bigger, and difficult content suddenly feel manageable. Shorekeeper is widely considered the most valuable support in the game. Her resonance. Liberation creates a field that grants critical buffs while continuously healing allies inside it. Beyond healing, she offers damage amplification, knockdown recovery, and even knockout prevention. Because she delivers so much utility with minimal field time, she fits almost every team and is often the ideal third slot support. Brant is a fusion support who strengthens the team without sacrificing his own damage. He converts energy regeneration into attack, allowing him to contribute meaningful personal output while still buffing allies. While he pairs exceptionally well with Changli, teams focused on basic attacks and resonance skills benefit greatly from his outro skill and forte circuit, making him a strong option even for free-to-play setups. Chiacona brings exceptional buffing and debuffing utility. She applies multiple instances of Aero Erosion and Spectro Frazzle across her kit, allowing her to slot into a variety of compositions. With the arrival of Cartafia, her full potential truly shines, as Cartafia fully capitalizes on Aero Erosion application and Aero damage bonuses. Cartafia is currently the strongest Aero damage dealer in the game. She delivers enormous damage and can apply Aero Erosion without needing a dedicated applicator. Because she scales with health, her long-term growth potential is extremely high. She has effectively surpassed Jian as the premier Aero damage dealer and may hold that position for quite some time. Frolova is a Havoc damage dealer built around resonance skill and echo skill damage, a niche synergy that works with only a handful of characters. She can contribute off-field damage, but reaching her full potential requires significant investment, especially her signature weapon. Once optimized, however, her teams become some of the strongest options for multi-wave content such as Whimpering Wastes. Augusta stands at the top of electro damage dealers thanks to devastating heavy attack damage combined with resonance skill combos. Her liberation can stop time for 7 seconds, pausing ability timers and even endgame timers, which is one of the strongest unique mechanics in the game. Despite her power, she is surprisingly easy to build. Her primary echo set activates at 3 pieces, and she pairs well with accessible characters like Mortefi, making her friendly for low-spending players. Yuno is an aero sub-damage dealer who seems to do everything. She amplifies heavy attack damage, heals, regenerates stamina, and contributes meaningful personal damage. Her flexibility allows her to fill multiple roles in a team. The main drawback is her limited free-to-play weapon options, and her full potential shines brightest when paired with Augusta, where she helps enable one of the strongest Electro teams currently available. Galbrina is a powerful fusion damage dealer with split scaling between echo skill damage and heavy attack damage, with echo skill damage forming the bulk of her output. This allows her to fit into multiple teams, but also makes her difficult to fully optimize because few buffs support echo skill damage. As a result, she relies heavily on her signature weapon to reach peak performance. Chuyuan is the premier echo skill damage buffer, requiring only a few seconds on field to pass powerful buffs to the next resonator. His rotations are straightforward and he contributes respectable sub damage. His true value lies in granting multiple echo skill damage amplifications and additional critical damage through his forte circuit and outro skill. Line A is an extremely flexible sub damage dealer who enhances nearly any team. She provides all damage bonus and amplification through both liberation and outro, and she acts as a driver for tune break compositions. She also deals strong personal damage and brings exploration utility, roller skates for faster movement, camouflage to avoid enemy detection, and upgrades that enhance the expedition motorcycle's boost capacity. Morny is a healer support comparable to Shorekeeper in terms of utility, sustain, and buffs. With the introduction of off-tune and tune break mechanics in version 3.0, she enables a new playstyle focused on triggering powerful tune breaks alongside Line A. She amplifies all damage, increases off-tune build-up rate, boosts enemy damage taken, and provides defensive stats, interruption resistance, and enhanced healing while shifting between tune rupture and tune strain effects for added tactical depth. Amiev is a meta-defining damage dealer capable of anchoring two different team archetypes. She excels in both Tune Rupture and Fusion Burst compositions depending on her active resonance mode, and she possesses one of the highest damage ceilings in the game. She can apply and consume Fusion Burst independently, inflict Tune Rupture while synergizing with similar units, amplify all damage types through her outro skill, and provide mobility utility via her mech's flight capability. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.